Hello, this is Judy from Juvenalis Twin Travel. Welcome back again. So today I'm going to talk about the most asked question this week and last week. So many people have asked me, like, we are hearing that there is no more fine reduction because fine reduction have been rejected, and can you please update us what next, or is it true all that my agent or my sponsor is just lying to me? So I had to do more research and do more investigation, because I don't like to do a video without a full information, because I will be misguiding people, of which most of the people usually they like to watch my videos because they will get information and they will stay updated, because this is a channel where I want to keep people engaged and to keep people updated, because most of this information I shares here, most of the people, they will not get it anywhere, and they will end up getting to the wrong direction. So as you know, before I had made a video about the fine reduction, the requirements, because you know many people might come, some people might come here in UAE, they want to find a job, or maybe they had cancelled their job, they want to make another to find another job, but they didn't get the job on time. So what usually happens when you come here in UAE, you come with your 30 days visa, 60 days visa, and your visa is about to finish. You usually get something which is called overstay all fines. So every day it's 50 dirhams. So what you usually advise our clients, it's you have to do visa change, or you have to exit back home if you didn't get a job. Most of the people, they don't usually prefer to go back home. They just want to keep on trying. So once you get the overstay, and maybe you have some overstay few days, you might get a job. And if your fine is more than 4,000, you have the right to get fine reduction. But this time round, the story have already changed. So before I had made a video and had stated the requirements for you to get a fine reduction. So one of the requirement was, this is based on Dubai visas especially. So the most the which was a must when you want to get a fine reduction was your fine must be 4,000 dirhams fines. That's number one. Number two, you must have had an offer letter from Mohre, meaning offer letter from immigration showing they have the company have started to, or your employer have started to do your visa, meaning that offer letter have MB number. This is not the other offer letter where you signs. It's just a typed offer letter with the company logo. This is not the one. This is the one from immigration from Mohre, and it have MB number. This MB number, it indicate, once the immigration indicates it in the system, they will see your details. It indicates the term and condition of the company. It indicates your salary, like this. And then the other thing, you needed to have the Emirates ID copy of your sponsor, both front and back. And then the other thing is your original passport copy and the visa copy, which was having fines. So if you were having these documents, and then you just pay for the fine reduction application, and then within maybe like 10 to 12 working days, you would get a fine reduction where you would have gotten the fine reduced up to maybe 90 to 95% were reduced, and then you find maybe paying less than 1,000 dirham for fines, or you could have paid between 1,000 to 1,500 dirham, which was at least favorable, instead of you paying 4,000. But this time it's a little bit tricky, and rules have changed. And the worst part in updates for Dubai visas is because they will not give us a notice. So what have happened right now? If you were on a visit visa, this is visit visa to be specific, not employment visa. For employment visa, the fine reduction is going through, but you must apply the visa, not only having the offer letter. You must have the labor contract, and you must have the entry permit, because you know, if you are doing the employment visa, which people call it employment visa, freelance visa, or residence visa. It has step by step. So before, if you're doing the fine reduction at the employment visa, if your fines is 4,000 and above, you needed only the offer letter. This is the only document you needed from immigration. But currently it have changed. You need the offer letter, you need the labor contract, and also you need the entry permit, because from the entry permit it's paying the fines and then do the status change. So in this case you must have to do until the entry permit. So the tricky part is, if you were absconded by the previous company, you cannot get the entry permit. You have to ask your previous company to remove the abscond for you to get the entry permit, for you to apply the fine reduction. This is what most of the people, they don't know. And when you apply, it will going to get rejected. If your sponsor or your former company doesn't want to remove the abscond, unfortunately you cannot get the fine reduction. You will end up filing a case to immigration, and they might or they might not help, because depending on the case filed. Because if your company exists or your sponsor exists, they are going to call them and ask what happened to A, B, C, D, and the sponsor will explain. If they need you to pay a certain amount of money, you have to pay for them to remove the abscond. So this one will be a little bit tricky, but if you are not absconded, well, you are lucky to get the fine reduction. So what happens to those who are on a visit visa? Unfortunately, the fine reduction have been stopped completely, unless, of which I will explain, for those who can get the fine reduction. So most of the people currently, they are applying the fine reduction who were on a visit visa, and now they have gotten a job, and the fine reduction is ending up being rejected, of which many people, they don't know. I'm going to read something out. It says, because if I do a research, I found that for you to get a visit visa fine reduction in UAE, you will need to submit a detailed letter explaining the reason for violation. That is the reason of you getting the fines and your inability to pay the fines, along with supporting documents like medical records or termination letter. So in this case, if you are on a visit visa and you got overstay and you apply for fine reduction, it got rejected, or when you are applying for the fine reduction, you need to indicate why you got on overstay. And some of the documents or some of the reasons you can give is like, maybe I had some medical record, I was maybe bedridden, I was unable to work to get the visa, so that the visa could have been done, or maybe I was having some medical issues. So these documents or the medical reports indicating you are sick ABCD, it have to be attached on the application. This is what many people, they don't know. And then something else people need to know is like the termination letter. Maybe you are terminated from a certain company, maybe you came with a visit visa, and maybe you are told, or let's try to see if you are capable to work, and maybe you are terminated on your trials. They must give you a termination letter, so you will attach on the fine reduction application. So on top of that, the medical records, if the violation was due to illness, provide relevant medical documents. Relevant medical documents showing, it have to be legit documents showing you had some illness, and it should be verified from a hospital by a doctor, you see. And then about termination letter, if the violation was due to a job termination, submit a copy of your termination, and it must be valid, and it must be having a stamp. Something else which can lead you to have our fines, it may be, these are just examples, because for you to have a fine, maybe you had some financial problem, you had some termination, you had a termination letter, or you are sick, meaning you need your medical record. So for the financial issue, you maybe need to provide a financial statement where it will show you didn't afford to pay the fines, and then you need to submit some documents showing you had some financial situation. To be honest, these are about the financial situation. I don't know which document can be attached. Maybe if you had a loan, but I don't know how someone can get a loan when you are having a visit visa, because you must have employment visa. I think this one applies to the employment visa. So in this case, if you want to apply for the fine reduction, it will automatically be rejected, and you will end up paying the full fine. Even if it's a 1,000, even if it's 10,000 dirhams, you will end up paying the full amount. So always I advise my client, avoid getting fines. If you know you didn't get a job on time, kindly you can exit and come back again, or you can ask your family members back at home or friends to give you some cash to do the visa change, so at least you can give it a try again. So without a supporting document, unfortunately you cannot get the fines reduced. You have to pay full amount, which is a little bit tricky and expensive for you. But there is someone who advised me and told me that if you want to get a fines reduced, you must provide a ticket and show like you want to go back home. For example, if you have fines, maybe 4,000, and you find a job, you can book a ticket and go with the ticket in Arwil and inform them you want them to reduce your fines, so that you will be able to pay the remaining fines and you will be able to exit back home without a ban. Because as you know, this is another trick, because if you want to go back home and you cannot pay your fines, you have to get an out pass where you will get a ban, and for you to get the out pass, you will have to have a ticket. But in this case, you are going to ask the immigration, that is Arwil immigration, yes, to reduce your fines, so you will be able to pay the remaining fines. You will exit back home, and then you will be able to come back in future, because for the outpass, most of the people, they usually get a permanent ban. So in this case, if you get the ticket and you get the fine reduced, my question is, are you going to be able to proceed with the visa? Is Arwil going, or immigration, is it going to notice that you didn't exit to back home country? So this one I'm not clear. I'm not yet 100% about it, because maybe they just give you a fine reduction for you to exit back home, and then you'll be able to come back. I can advise you at least to book a ticket to go back home, where you get your fines reduced, you go back home, and then you come back again. In this case, you not get a ban, because you might get that fine reduction with the ticket, and then you try to do your visa, and then maybe your visa get rejected again. You will have to go back to them, and they will ask you, why did you lie to us that you're going home? Always be honest. So what I can advise you, please people, avoid getting overstay, because since after amnesty, things have been changing every day without notice, and once something happens is when we get to know, because when we apply the fines, the application fee was deducted, and then when the application was rejected, amount was not refunded back to us. So it's loss after loss after loss. So avoid fines. And I hope those who have been asking about fine reduction, why it was rejected, hope they have understood. And if you have any question that you didn't get it clear, or you want more explanation, you can always share your on the question on the comment section. So for more information, you can visit us. We are located in Dira City Center Metro Station. Behind it today, you see Centurion Star Building, Block B, Office 727. And also we have another office in Nairobi, Westlands, in Madonna House. Thank you. You can share this video and also comment and share with your friends for them to get educated and to have more information and to stay updated. Thank you.